Hello, welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
In our podcast, we'll review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Every other week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching She's All That.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers to you in the movie and don't want it to be spoiled.
Press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this movie.
Okay. She's All That came out in 1999, the year I graduated from college. With a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes. Nice and short. It's not streaming anywhere. We had to rent it on Amazon. It's written by R.L. Fleming Jr. and directed by Robert Escovy. Main stars are Freddie Prinze Jr., Rachael Leigh Cook, and Matthew Lillard. Fun facts, there was a remake of sorts called He's All That. I think you watched that movie. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was controversial because they had a TikTok star be the girl.
Okay.
And she's like not an actor. She's like a dancer. So like apparently the acting was really bad. But I didn't even know that there was like controversy about it or whatever. So I just watched it and I was like,
So in comparison to this girl actress, you're not saying that she was way worse or anything. You're saying it's about the same.
It was still like a cheesy movie.
Yeah. All right. So what'd you think of the movie?
It was all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you rate it?
3.5 stars.
That's not that bad of a rating. 3.5 stars. Not a great movie, but you can kind of have it right in the middle. It's all right. Yeah, I watching it again. I thought it was pretty good. Everything's super cheesy, but I think that's just how all these movies are. Like these high school movies from like the 90s are pretty cheesy.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. We meet Lainey, a tormented artist in high school. Her dad takes her and her little brother Simon to high school. Then we meet Zach, student body president, an all-around popular guy. Girls love him and guys want to be him. They're all getting back from spring break. What do you think of Lainey? Thought she was cool?
She was all right.
What do you think of Zach?
I don't remember much about him.
The boy. The main...
Yeah, I don't remember much about him.
You know, as I watch this movie, it reminds me a lot of 10 Things I Hate About You. And I think they're both based on something similar to it. Except they did it way better. Like, I thought Lainey was so weak as a character. And I thought Zach was like, whatever, you know? Very vanilla. Like, just nothing special about him.
That's why there's no, like, he doesn't have any character traits.
Yeah, I mean, he's nice. But he doesn't have any growth.
I do think that they kind of threw some of her personality away.
Yeah.
At first, she was very much an activist, very informed about current events, and then they go to the beach and she's like talking about it and he's like, don't you ever chill out? And she's like, just came to my head. And ever since that point, she never talks about anything of the sort for the rest of the movie.
She just chills out.
Yeah. Like she was like, okay, I guess I'll stop.
Yeah, I'll stop being smart. Yeah, that's the other thing. She also lacks any self-confidence. Unlike the 10 Things I Hate About You character, I thought she was so confident in herself. Didn't care about anyone else. Eventually, she opens up and falls in love. But this girl here was weak. She's a weak character. It's just kind of sad.
But I feel also like people dislike the stereotype of like, oh, a character that's like not like the other girls. Like, oh, she's different. Like she like rejects all femininity and all this kind of stuff. But if that's her character, then she should stay as that character. She shouldn't just like transform into something different. Like even if some people don't really like that type of character, if that's what the story is about, then that's how the character should be.
Right, because there's a comment about her later. She's scary and inaccessible. So, like, she didn't seem scary or inaccessible at any other point other than the fact that she's like, I don't think you like me. I think you're making fun of me. And so she was just guarded. Unlike the character from 10 Things I Hate About You. She was scary. She was mean. Like, she didn't want to play with anyone. She was tough. You know, so in comparison, maybe I shouldn't compare the movies because in doing so, I think it does a disservice to this movie in its own. But I just think they did it way better. Zach sees his alpha mean girlfriend, Taylor. She breaks up with him for Brock, a reality TV star. Brock shows up at school and makes out with Taylor, but Taylor will still go to prom with Zach. By the way, Brock's way older, right?
Yeah.
Taylor's like 17, maybe 18, maybe 18, right? The dude's like combing the high schools for girls. That guy's just a perv.
I always just thought it was weird that a lot of these movies have such older people, like
Playing.
Clueless. Like the guy's in college, and at the end she reveals she's like 16. Like
Yeah,
they just skip over these weird age gaps.
Sure. Let's say they're 18, just for the legality of it, right? It's legally okay. But is it morally okay for you to like search out high school girls to date when you're like a 25, 26-year-old guy? Like, ew, no. What's wrong with you?
He's also like a reality TV guy. So he's got like 1 million people possible. Like he's in the whole industry of people.
Sure.
So why would he have to go date a high schooler?
Right. So
it's not like he's not depicted as some kind of loser that's like all alone. Like, you know how in Scott Pilgrim, that's kind of how he is. Like, oh, he has to date a high school girl because he's so alone.
Yeah.
Loser. Like, he's not like that at all. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to be dating a high schooler.
Also in Scott Pilgrim, they laugh at him for dating a high school girl, and they talk about how bad it is and wrong it is. But then he's kind of so pathetic that he's like, well, that's kind of how I get girls. Like, otherwise, they never address that here. They never talk about. They just think that Brock is cool and people love him.
He's supposed to be the coolest guy.
The coolest character. In our class, mean girl Misty bullies Lainey, tells her to kill herself. Ursher, the school DJ, comes on to make the morning announcements. That's funny that he works there. Well, no, he's a student. You think he's like one of the students?
I think so. They usually just get kids from leadership to do announcements.
So maybe he's like this leadership. Oh, he doesn't hang out with anyone anywhere else. He doesn't go to any parties.
He's just the DJ.
He's just a DJ. That's actually his name on the IMDb is DJ. He doesn't have a name.
Why does the school have a DJ?
It's a cool area, I guess. He announces that Zach and Taylor have broken up. And that's the other thing. Like, what kind of hateful person starts announcing breakups? Broadcasting it. What'd you think of Misty? Little jerk. Telling her to kill herself.
I don't see why she cares.
I don't see why she exists. Because you already got a mean girl in Taylor. Why do you need another one? Just maybe like if they were going to like go with the angle that she's a bullied girl and then that's why she's so the way she is.
But she was that way before.
Yeah.
It was strange. It's like, what did she really have to do with her?
There's a scene later. Well, we'll get to it later. That kind of just messes up Lainey. Makes her look bad. Zach is hurt but doesn't let on. He makes a bet with his friends Dean and Preston that he's so popular that he can make any girl a prom queen. The bet is on, and they start looking for the right student. They spot Lainey and pick her. Zach complains that she's scary and inaccessible, like I said, I mentioned earlier. Zach approaches her and she walks away.
I think it's funny that he's like, Lainey Boggs, oh my goodness, not her. Like, how do you know her name like that?
They grew up together. I mean, you know a lot of high school kids. I
doubt it.
They probably did. They were probably friends when they were like in elementary school, and then, he got popular and she didn't, and then he like completely ignored her.
I don't think so.
First off, they're like totally demean women, and they're like looking at these girls and they're like making fun of them. Oh, that frat girl. Oh, that girl's picking her butt. Oh. And all those girls would have been way harder than gorgeous Lainey Boggs. You know what I'm saying?
And Lainey Boggs isn't like, when they look at her, she's not even doing anything weird. She's just like...
No, she falls.
Yeah, but it's not like she's like acting crazy or something.
Right, she's not like picking her nose or anything like that.
Yeah, she just trips and people fall all the time.
Yeah, they're like a disaster. There's no class there. There's no elegance if she's just falling all over, sprawled on the floor.
Like, is it her clothes? Like, what is it that they thought was so horrible compared to like all the women earlier that have like horrible hygiene?
So there's a bunch of movies where they make fun of other like series. There's a movie called Not Another Teen Movie, and they have a scene where they play that, they pretend to do it, and then they're like, what do you mean not her? Look at the overalls. She has paint on her pants. We can never make her beautiful. And then it's a supermodel. Like, who's having it? She has glasses. You'll never be beautiful. Like, they were like making it like how ridiculous it was that they chose this like gorgeous girl to be the one that they're going to transform, even though she's beautiful as it was. I don't know. It's so dumb. I don't know. As someone who wears glasses, you take offense to that? You're like, oh, come on now. I look good in glasses.
Well, I think that a lot of these transformation movies, like I haven't watched The Princess Diaries or whatever, the one with.
Oh yeah,
And they have a whole transformation scene, and I haven't watched the movie, but I always thought it was like kind of strange that some of these things are considered ugly. Like glasses are considered ugly.
Sure.
Curly hair or frizzy hair is considered ugly.
Sure.
They're making them ugly when. And also like, oh, she has like short hair and like all these different things that are considered ugly, and then they just like completely change it. And then like you get a makeover, right? But then is it the same person? I feel like that's not the makeover should be like, oh, they look so much better, not like they look like someone else.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that they're beautiful, not they're beautiful because they look like one of the popular girls now.
Well, maybe. Like if we look back on like Mean Girls and she starts putting on makeup and she starts dressing differently, but she was always beautiful, right? I think what was beautiful to them is the fact that she's wearing this makeup, is wearing these things. Even though we all knew she was beautiful in the first place.
But I always thought it was strange. Going back to the Princess Di example, instead of straightening her hair, why couldn't they have just like made her nicely curly like it's supposed to be, like in her natural hair?
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's traits. Like if someone has super ugly glasses, why can't they just get like a nicer pair of frames? I do think it's interesting that they cut her hair shorter, because I think it's also a stereotype, like short hair is ugly, or like guys want hair that's as long as possible. So I think that was interesting that they cut her hair, but I think they could have just taken it out of the ponytail. Like there's all these things that they have to completely change.
She has a ponytail, like that other movie. I want to see the scene. I'll play it for you. The whole rest of them, because there's nudity in that movie. There's like, it's just overrated. Like they have the foreign exchange student who walks around naked. Like, cause she's just, all she is like a sex object in that movie. It's just dumb, but it's just like kind of making fun of the other ones. I'll show it to you. I'll find that one scene as long as I don't have to pay for it. And I'll show you how over the top ridiculous it is. And they're making fun of it. And I think we are too, in a way, you know?
Yeah. I think that they could do certain things to just improve the person. And I also think that if the character is super insecure or like less, they would come out and be super confident. They'd come out strutting. Like that would be the kind of like a whole shift.
Yes. The whole Superman Clark Kent. Clark Kent's a bumbling fool. And Lois Lane does not see him. But she sees Superman. Same dude. Looks exactly the same. But Superman's, his back is straight. He's smiling. He's confident. And I get that. Okay. You know what I mean? She never gets that confidence. Ever.
And so they continue to like basically make fun of her the exact same while she's at the party. Like no one but the dude sees like a difference in her. Like it didn't matter in the story.
There's that one character, Katie, who was nice to her. And then the other girl's like, why are you being nice to her? And then she's like, oh, she's cool. She's fine. Like she wasn't trying to fight.
But she was nice from the beginning, not because of the makeover or anything. They were at the beach and she was being super nice to her, being like, don't be mean to her. Like we're going to go play volleyball. Yeah,
you're right. Maybe she's just a nice person in general. But what's she hanging out with Taylor for? Taylor's a jerk, so I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Mackenzie, Zach's sister, sees real-world clips of Brock, and we find out he's a buffoon. She gives Zach advice on how to woo Lainey. Then their parents come home and ask Zach if he received any information about getting into colleges. Zach says no, but goes upstairs and he goes through a pile of acceptance letters. Why is every character in every high school movie get into every university they ever want to? You know what I mean? He got into Harvard and Yale and Dartmouth. Like the dude just, everybody wants that guy. That's not how it works.
Maybe they should just make a movie where the kid just fails. Like they have their whole life thought out and they think everything's going to be perfect and they just don't get in.
Right.
Because the kid always gets in.
Because in Cobra Kai, one kid goes to Stanford. The other kid goes to MIT. And I'm like, there's no. You might have one kid in the whole school that goes into MIT or one kid in the whole school. I think one girl in my high school got into Stanford. But like no one else got into Stanford. You know what I'm saying? And it was like a, 3,000 person school. It was a big school, but not everybody gets into Stanford. You got like, oh, we're all going to go to MIT together. Even in what was the movie? The Peter Parker movie, the Spider-Man movie, they all get into MIT except for him, right? Or something like that. How is it the whole school's getting into MIT? How does that even make sense?
Or a Cinderella story where like the both of them get into Princeton, and he's like, Dad, I don't want to go to this school. I want to go to Princeton. And the dad's like, why the heck would you want to go to Princeton? Like, are you serious? What kind of parent's gonna be mad about Princeton?
Yeah, most parents just want your kids to go to college. Zach goes and visits Lainey at her fast food job. She tells Zach to stop talking to her. She's not going to be his tutor. And he says he doesn't need a tutor. He's got the best grades in the school. He's like the fifth. He's also the fifth highest in the whole school. So he's not even the valedictorian, and he got into all those colleges. What an amazing school. I don't know what they're going on. Maybe they're paying for all this. Lainey can't comprehend why he would talk to her. Zach says he wants to discuss art, and her friend Jessie brings up a show they can go together. And they make a date. Jessie also didn't need to exist.
I'm just glad that they didn't try and make the romance about him.
Right.
I thought it was one of the refreshing things about the movie.
Oh, yeah, because then what would have happened is he would have been heartbroken, then they would have ended up together, and Zach just ends up by himself. I don't know. At the art show, it's a very modern hippy-dippy. Zach is confused and doesn't fit in. Then when the MC asks if anyone wants to come up, Lainey volunteers Zach. He goes up and does a poem using his hacky sack.
My question is,
yeah,
why does he have a hacky sack in his pocket?
You got to be ready. At any time, you might just break out into hacky sack.
Or why didn't he just leave?
No, he's trying to woo Lainey, right? He's got to do something. He didn't know what to do. He like busted out the hacky sack. And they loved it. The crowd loves it. And Lainey's kind of like, oh, okay. Maybe he's more than that.
He's deep.
Even he feels proud of himself. He's like, I've done this a million times in soccer. But by the way, they made him a soccer player. You think that's... like, what's going on here? You think ASB presidents are soccer players?
Valedictorians are soccer players.
Maybe. They leave to get, well, as a scholar athlete with a 4.0, I think Natalie has something to say about that. They leave together and Zach compliments her eyes. She finds it all so fake and surreal and bounces. She can't even believe it. You're like, what do you mean I have beautiful eyes? So stupid.
How dare you give me a compliment? I thought that was so strange.
So
like,
weird.
Why did she get mad at him?
Yeah, like he's just being smooth. She could have just said, okay, bro, I get it.
Or she could have she didn't have to like flirt back. She could have just been like, oh, thanks.
And then not brought any attention to it.
Exactly.
And she catches a cab, right? She takes a taxi home. Like she's like, I'm out. I'm done with this. Taylor begins to realize that Brock is more in love with himself than her. Zach goes to Lainey's house to invite her to the beach. She eventually relents. They go to the beach and he tells her to relax. There's your scene.
And then she stops. Her whole character goes out the window.
Yeah, and she becomes a better artist because she relaxed. The rest of the crew come, and it gets a little uncomfortable for Lainey because the girls are kind of rude at first. Then Preston invites Lainey to play volleyball, and she agrees. She takes off her overalls, exposing her bathing suit, and the other girls notice her physique. They didn't notice it before.
I also, about the art thing, I don't know if this is a hot take, that her art got worse. Because she was doing all this cool stuff with all these clippings, and it was like filling up the canvas, and it was all crazy and like had meaning. And then she just started drawing people. Like she just started doing portraits.
I don't think that's a hot take. If anything, yeah, she probably sucked from
They just took away her creativity and flavor.
No, he pacified her. That's what happened. Like a baby in a pacifier. He's like, just relax, mama. You'll be fine.
And then she's like, yes.
Oh. She's like, okay. So stupid. Anyways, the day ends and they invite Lainey to a party. She says she can't go because she has to clean the house. Later, Jessie asks her why she declined the invite. She still has doubts that all of this is real. Then Zach comes over with the JV soccer team to clean the house so she can go to the party. He also comes with a dress and Mackenzie to give her a makeover. We find out Lainey's so serious because her mom passed away a few years ago. She's been taking care of things around the house. I hate that. Two things. The dad is watching Jeopardy. This girl is busy with a job, going to school, and does her art. And he's just reading the newspaper and he expects her to clean the house?
This is clearly just sexism.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. Anyways.
And she has a little brother. He could have been helping her.
Right.
If he so seriously needed a break from his job that he couldn't clean the house, which by the way wasn't in shambles. Like she could have waited a week or whatever.
And those guys came in with like, were they going to clean toilets? Like they were going to go to work. They came in with like tools and stuff.
But like, couldn't her brother be like, hey, like I know you want to go to a dance. Like let's clean this house together. Because her brother's not a rude, like it's not a sibling relationship where he's like kind of rude to her.
They love each other.
Like they're very close.
Yeah. And he loves Zach. He thinks he's like a legend. And so he would have done anything to get her to date Zach. So that way Zach can come around. I honestly think he wanted Zach to be his best friend in the whole world. Right. And it helps him later. You know, we find out that he stops some bullies for him. But I'm like, why is it that the dad, and I hate that. I didn't like it on 10 Things About You because she was like taking care of business. And the dad's like, take it easy. I can do all of this. I can do this without you. I love you. Just be yourself. And I thought that was a way more poignant moment between the dad and the daughter than this dad who's kind of like standing the guy the whole time. What are you trying to do? First off, as a dad, I like you girls to be happy, but I'm like, hey man, that guy, I don't know if I want you to date all the time. I'm not like trying for you to hook up with guys. You know what I mean? Not trying to be your wingman, you know? And the dad kind of was. And there's a scene later where he turns the light on and you're like, what are you doing creating a romantic moment so they can start making out in your backyard? Like, dude, come on. Dude, like, what kind of dad does that? Anyway, so I just thought that part was annoying. But it was funny that he never answered any of the questions.
And then later, the dad has the audacity to be like, you should go and relax a bit. You should go do some parties. I'm sorry, you were making her be Cinderella a few minutes ago. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you're the one preventing her from going because you're like, mop the floors.
That's a good point. Good point. Anyways, Lainey comes down and Zach falls in love. Like, he doesn't notice her before that. He sees her in this sexy dress with a new haircut and no glasses.
Oh my goodness.
And falls in love with her.
Alert the media.
This is a scene that reminds me of Miss Congeniality. Gets her makeover, comes out, and the partner looks at her and goes, oh my gosh, she's hot. I'm like, she was hot before. What are you talking about? Like, it was the same scene. Just like, oh my gosh, she's hot. I didn't know that. So, I don't know.
They're not going to cast an ugly girl, I guess. So.
No, I know, but I'm like, come on, you got to know that she's cute. You got to know. You're like, I think you would look better if you did this, but you know she's cute. Come on.
And also, she comes down the stairs wearing heels. And I saw from the jump, I was like, this is a horrible idea. Like, give the girl some flats. Like,
and she falls, right?
Yeah.
Or almost
Who
falls.
thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, she's never, ever had him before. Does she wear them to the party? I don't remember.
She does.
But then now she knows how to use them, so it's okay.
And then she's walking perfectly fine later.
They get to the party and Dean asks Zach if he's catching feelings or if the bet's still on. Zach says it's all about the bet. At that point, he should have just been honest because he was starting to get feelings, but whatever.
And also, like, does he still even care? Like, why does he care so much about this stupid bet?
No, he wants to win. I mean, we find out what the bet is at the end, but I'd want to win, right?
Yeah, but he's saying, is the bet off? He's not saying, like, did I win?
No, he's saying, like, are you really liking her or are you just doing this for the bet? And the guy's like, no, I'm doing this for the bet. It's still on. Like, that's all I care about.
I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
The bet wasn't that you won't fall in love with the girl. It was that you take her to the prom so she could just be like, oh yeah, and I fell in love with her too. Like,
right.
Eat that.
You can have the bet going on and still have feelings for her.
Yeah. Especially because it's not, now that she's supposedly hot now, it wouldn't even be like a weird thing. It's not even like an embarrassing thing because now everyone's like, dang, she's really 100%.
Fine. And then Dean wants to hook up with her too.
So at that point, it's not like, oh no, I would never, like, ew, she's so ugly, I would never. No, now it's like, oh yeah, and she's hot, but I still don't like her. Gross.
At the party, Lainey sees Missy, who's sick from being drunk, and she tries to help her. But Missy's rude, and Lainey gets her revenge. I didn't like this scene, because she painted all the clown makeup on her, and then Missy becomes, like, ridiculed, and people laugh at her because she has a clown face on. I thought this was cruel and the same kind of behavior that she had towards Lainey. And I just did not like this for Lainey. What do you think about it?
I don't No, she kind of did do a lot of horrible things to her.
Sure.
So I think that the whole clown makeup wasn't the worst of it. And Misty was also already kind of like alternative person. So like...
No, it was a ridicule because everybody laughed at her. They laughed her out the party.
Yeah, but it's not like telling her to kill herself and like, how does it feel to clean my puke? Like all this stuff. It was definitely out of character for Lainey. So I didn't like that. That's what I'm
saying.
Part.
I'm not saying that it's not as obviously Misty is a cruel one, right? But I just thought she stooped to her level, changed the character for me, and made me go like, all right, then Lainey's not as sweet and kind as I thought she was going to be.
And a lot of the story is based on how she has so little confidence that she literally walked out and got a cab on the guy because she couldn't believe that her eyes were beautiful. Why would she ever do something like this?
Yeah, because
if she had such little confidence, she would have just like walked out and been like, oh, like I feel so upset. I tried to help this girl. Like, she would have just been like upset if she had that little confidence.
Sure. I didn't like it. It seems like you don't care about it. You're like, she deserved it because she's a hateful human who tells people to kill themselves, right?
Yeah, but I didn't think it was in character for Lainey. I didn't know what they wanted for Lainey. Did they want her to have like a confidence boost with the makeover, which they didn't really do fully?
They did not, yeah.
So like it was out of character. It would make sense if she was like, oh yeah, like I look like $1 million. I'm going to go to this party. I'm going to be super confident. But she wasn't. She was like, do I have to go in there?
Yeah. Anyways, Taylor shows up to the party, pours a drink on Lainey, and then makes fun of her in front of everybody. Lainey leaves crying, and Zach takes her home. At school the next day, Lainey finds out she's nominated for prom queen. Taylor comes to school, and she's upset because Brock broke up with her, and gets even more upset when she hears that Lainey's nominated. There's more than one nomination. Like, what do you care? You hate Lainey that much.
Who else? Was there no other nominations?
There must have been several other people. I think there's like 5 or 6, right? Isn't that how the prom queen works? I guess
there's like a whole court.
Yeah. Zach's distracted during soccer practice, and Dean calls him out. They get into a scuffle, and Dean promises to take him down. You're going down, buddy. I'll take you down. It's stupid. Zach goes and visits Lainey in her studio at home. She opens up about her mom, and he talks about how scared he is about his future. They're about to kiss, but he panics and leaves when she brings up the prom. That's the time right now to come up clean. Tell her, hey, this is what happened. I fell in love with you. How upset would you be if you're like, listen, the reason I was interested in you at first was because I made a bet with my friend. But then I got to know you, and I love you. I think you're awesome. I'm so happy that I got to know you. I'm not doing the bet anymore, and I'll call myself out in front of everybody. How mad would you be at that?
I'd still probably be mad.
No, of course. But I'm saying, like, would you be like, all right, we're done. I don't want to ever see you again. Even though you got feelings for him too.
No, probably not. But the longer it is, the worse.
Yes. Especially when you realize that you both care for each other. And at this point, they were going to kiss, so they were having a moment. At school, Taylor's campaigning hard for a prom queen. She's even giving out free stuff. In the cafeteria, some bullies make fun of Simon, and Zach stands up for him. Lainey watches on and swoons. She's in love. Dean meets up with Lainey at her job and asks her to prom since Zach's going with Taylor. She says no, and he asks her to keep him in mind. Meanwhile, Zach's dad finds all the acceptance letters and gets upset. They argue, and the dad tells him the future is coming regardless. By the way, if you don't accept the colleges, they leave you. You can't. This is over. So he's going to go to JC next year because he didn't turn in his commitment letters. And then his drama, like, what's his drama? I don't know what I want to be. Like, I don't know. We're trying to feel bad for Zach. Why?
You have all these options. Like, get it together, man.
Sure. Usher talks about prom and how the race is close between Lainey and Taylor. Taylor reminds Zach they're going together and informs him that Dean and Lainey are going together. Zach confronts Dean and tells him that he did catch feelings for Lainey. Dean reminds him about the bet, and Lainey overhears everything. So that's when she finds out, of course, from the jerks.
But also, I see why she'd be mad, but why is she so mad now? Because he basically gave up on the bet because he's not going with her.
Yeah. I guess he's going with Taylor.
It's not like he continued on with the bet.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's still on. If she becomes the prom queen, he wins.
But he has to take her. That was like part... like.
No, I don't think so. Because it's a voting thing.
Oh.
But no, you're right. I think the bet was if I can make any girl prom queen. I don't know if he's going to say I'm going to take her to make her prom queen. I don't know. That's a good point. Zach tries to reach out to Lainey to no avail. She's upset and her dad comforts her. He tells her she has a date for prom waiting for her upstairs. She thinks it's Zach, but it's actually Dean. She went up excited that it was going to be Zach, so she wasn't really that hurt, was she? She agrees to go with him. Taylor waits for Zach to come, but he stands her up and he goes with Mackenzie instead. I like that. Because if he would have went with her, I'd have been like, dude, come on. Right? But he goes with his sister, and I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah. But I also feel bad because does that mean the sister didn't have a date at all?
No, she goes to another school. She goes to an all-female school.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's why that's why no one knows her there. So, but I mean, that's kind of cute. He went with his sister. That's kind of cute. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess maybe it's like, oh, that's pathetic, but he's so popular, he could have gone with anyone. So it was more like, I went with my sister. Like sometimes when you have like Oscar winners, they bring their moms, like as their date. I'm like, that's kind of cute. They can date anyone. They can have any girlfriend, but they're like, I'm going to bring my mom as my date. I like that.
And I'm glad that it wasn't like a misunderstanding, because you would think that it would be like, oh, what's this guy doing with the girl? But she already knows that it's his sister.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because she's met her before. So prom time, ushers a DJ, of course, and tells people to do the school choreographed dance, and they crush it. What do you think of the dance?
It was cool.
I love choreographed dance scenes that come out of nowhere. I love it. I love it with all my heart. In any movie where
Very
people...
High School Musical.
Yeah. Well, that one's a musical, so it kind of comes from somewhere. But you could be in the middle of a movie and then people do a choreographed dance, and I'm like, I love it. I think it's so fun. I think it's a terrible like story element thing, but I just think it's cute. I like it. So Mackenzie and Jesse meet and they hit it off. Lainey finds out that her art teacher recommended her for art college because of her new artwork that's inspired by Zach. Zach making everything right.
And it wasn't inspired by Zach. It was a painting of her mom.
But it was inspired. She opened up because Zach told her to relax. I think that changed her life. He's like, relax, bro. And she's like, yes. Like a Zen moment. In the bathroom, Jesse overhears Dean bragging that he will hook up with Lainey that night. Jesse leaves and goes and tells Mackenzie. So, what's that dude going to the bathroom? Like, he's just in the stall? Like, I mean, it makes me laugh to think girls go to the bathroom. They go to the stall every time. This is the scene where you always see the girl overhearing what's going on with the girls, right? But now it's the guy overhearing what's going on with the guys. But like, what's that dude doing in the stall? So he leaves the bathroom and he goes and he tells Mackenzie. Why wouldn't he go and tell Lainey? Why would you go tell the person you just met that night? That part was so dumb.
And he's Lainey's best friend.
Yes, they're best friends. It's so dumb. Like, I'm going to go tell Mackenzie, and then like, why don't we go together to tell? Like, so dumb. They go to tell Lainey, but are interrupted by the prom court announcement. Zach wins, and so does Taylor. Dean and Lainey leave together. So then they run off to go tell Zach. What? So they're like, we'll tell Mackenzie, and then we'll tell Zach, and then we'll tell Lainey what's going on. Like, the last person to know is her.
Wait, they don't have phones yet, right?
No.
Okay.
Zach eventually finds out when Jesse and Mackenzie tell him, and he storms out to look for Lainey. Later, Lainey gets home, and her dad tells her to go to the backyard. Zach is waiting for her, and they talk. The dad even turns on romantic lights. Like, what are you doing, dude? Come on now.
And also, why was Zach at her house rather than trying to find her?
I think he went to catch up with her. And he did. Remember, he called hotels because the guy got a hotel room and he kept calling hotels and couldn't find her.
So he does have a phone.
He does have a phone.
So.
Right? Because maybe it was a car phone?
No, it was a flip phone. And I remember because he was just typing stuff in. How do you have the hotel numbers memorized?
He does. He's just the guy. He works in the industry. He works in the hotel industry. Anyways, dad makes him make out pretty much.
So he could have called either Lainey or Lainey's dad.
They may not have the phone.
Yeah, but they have a landline. He could have called Lainey's dad and been like, hey, I think your daughter's in trouble.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Good point. Yeah, maybe I would say the person after Lainey to tell would be her dad, who's going to drive to every hotel and kill every person that gets in her. You know what I mean? So, all right. He apologizes. They have a dance and they kiss. Should have been the end there, but it's not. At graduation, we find out that the loser of the bet has to get their diploma naked. Zach goes through with it. Sexual harassment for the whole student body. He just goes up there naked. He has a soccer ball covering his privates when he's sitting there, but then he throws the soccer ball to Lainey, and then she laughs, and then the movie ends.
How is that allowed?
The end. I don't think it is allowed.
Well, they would have saw him sitting down naked for the
Sure
entire
when everybody else was
speech.
wearing a cap and gown. Stupid. If he would have taken everything, if he would have had the cap and gown and taken it off and would have been naked, then
that would have made sense.
Yeah, he would have got away with it.
And then he just started sprinting.
Oh my gosh, the more I analyze this movie, the more it's so stupid. I can't believe we watched this movie. I'm sorry I made you watch it, but you ended up liking it okay, so I guess I'm not too sorry. Because this movie still be made today.
I mean, they made a different version of it.
Yeah, what are some things you think would be changed now? Or what do you think are some things that you had problems with that they wouldn't necessarily do now?
Well, it's not anything large, but like when Zach is winning the homecoming queen thing, or I guess king thing, like the teacher kisses him on the cheek.
Because everybody loves Zach, even the teachers, right?
That's so disgusting.
It is disgusting. I don't think I could ever kiss a teacher on the cheek. Yeah.
Well, the teacher kisses him. He's just standing there, and she's like, "Here's your crown." Mwah. Like, what the heck?
Okay, that was funny. That would probably not exist today.
I think also the girl telling her to kill herself probably wouldn't go so well.
No.
They don't do that level of bullying in movies most of the time.
Most of the time. I think that was over the top.
Yeah.
They were over the top. And she wasn't alone. She had a little.
Although it was more
crime.
realistic to real school bullying, I have to say.
You think people tell each other to kill themselves?
All the time.
Like real? Or like just, you kill yourself, like just messing around?
No, but I feel like bullying is more realistically that.
I would say more online. You think people go up to people's faces and they're like, you should kill yourself? You think that happens at high school?
People throw milk at kids that they're bullying.
Yes, that's different than telling someone to kill themselves.
I'm just saying that bullying is pretty horrible. And
Natalie, have you ever had an incident where you told someone to kill themselves?
Hundreds of times.
Oh my God. No wonder they call you the biggest bully at your high school. What else?
Oh, the people tell Lainey, although she kind of combated it, which was also strange because of the whole lack of confidence thing where they're like, "Oh, Lainey, you're just like so, like you run like a girl." And then she's like, "I am a girl."
Oh, yeah. That comment kind of like, I am a girl and I'm proud of it kind of attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of character, first of all.
Sure.
And second of all, the whole comment, like, coming from women. Like, why are you a bunch of women hating like a man? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
For sure. That makes sense. You're right.
Especially because I don't know what that one girl hated about her so much. Like, she was also almost like a third bully character.
Yeah. Like Taylor's friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I don't understand why she was so hateful for her. I don't get it either. Anything else?
Not really.
How about all the like fat shaming, like ugly shaming that they did when they were picking out the bet?
I think that would be done in movies today.
Maybe. Yeah, because the guys are, I mean, the main character is supposed to be a good guy, but you think he transformed from like a jerky guy, you know what I mean? And then the other guy, Dean, he's a jerk through and through.
But yeah, that was maybe cancelable, but it would probably still be in a movie today. I think that the plot line of her being like sexually harassed basically by him was pretty strange, but I also think that would be in a movie today.
You would definitely have that guy like, I'm gonna hook up with her tonight, I'll bet you $1 million. And then he tries to make a bet and Preston's like, and rolls his eyes like, dude, you're not learning anything. So like Preston learned, but like he didn't, Well,
Preston was never a jerk in the first place. Preston was like, hey guys, I don't know, you should be betting on this, like from the jump.
Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Yeah. But he was there. He was all a part about it. I don't know. It didn't seem to be like a vocal part that was really against it, but whatever.
I do feel like, however, what they did better than movies today was that they had her little brother was deaf, and they didn't try and call attention to it. It was just, he's a little kid and he's deaf. It's not like, oh, that's a deaf kid.
Yeah, because when he got teased, when he got bullied, it wasn't because he was deaf.
It was just because his mom.
No, it was because he like was giving people pepper. He's walking around doing ground pepper for people. Like, that dude's crazy. Like, that's weird. You don't think that's weird? He had a ground pepper shaker little thingy, and he was going pepper, and then he would give people pepper. Just in the.
That was a plot point, also, not the pepper thing, but the fact that his mom was like, she was in Playboy.
Who was?
His mom, because they pull out a magazine and they grab him like, oh, look, there's your mom. She's naked, look. And they're showing him a magazine.
I don't think she was in Playboy. I think they're just saying, hey, look, this is your mom. Like, you know, I mean, I don't think that was her mom. The mom's a photographer.
The mom's dead.
Obviously. But that could have been an old Playboy. What I'm trying to say is, I would just say like, hey, look at who this is. This is your mom. You're like, that's not my mom, dude. What are you doing? I don't think
But then why was he like freaking out so much?
Because he doesn't want his mom to be called some naked lady. If you're like, hey, your mom's fat. You're like, my mom's not even fat. No, you would be hurt. Like, dude, why are you calling my mom fat? She's not even fat. You know what I mean? Like, you're ready to fight. And he was ready to fight. And then he gets saved.
But now I feel like movies are so focused on like being like, oh, wow, we do wonderful representation. Like they show a kid and they'll be like, hi, I'm Jeffrey and I'm gay. Like that's how they do representation now in movies now. Yeah. And I think that they did this way better. That it was just him.
Yeah, he wasn't a person who was defined by his characteristics or by his disability.
Yeah, and I thought that was one of the good things of this movie.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
But that's one of the traits of current movie that I'm like, maybe we should start canceling that. Like, stop making characters just to be a certain thing.
They're trying to be inclusive, right?
But that's not how inclusivity works. You're drawing, you're making them as separate. You're making them different from everyone else. If it was truly inclusive, then that would just be who they are.
Right. Just like the way this movie did it for him.
Yeah.
And they never even mentioned at one time that he has hearing issues. But you see his hearing aids, and so.
Well, one time there was like a scene where he takes it out, so because he's not listening to someone, but it wasn't that big of a scene.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that scene. I didn't see it. All right. Anything else?
No.
Does it pass the Bechdel test?
Yeah.
It does. Okay. Bechdel test is test check female representation in movies. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1. Are there 2 or more named females?
Yeah, there's Taylor, Lainey, Misty,
Katie.
The 2 girls.
Yeah. All right. Criteria number 2. Do they talk to each other?
Yeah. Lainey talks to the 2 girl friends that are at the beach.
Sure.
Lainey talks with Misty, and Lainey talks with Taylor.
Okay. Criteria number 3. They talk about anything other than a man.
So there's a few instances.
Wow, this really passed the Bechdel test. This is a female-centric movie.
But right. Misty tells Lainey to kill herself. That's one of them. The one mean girl that's like completely useless to the story is like, oh, you run like a girl. Like that's a part of it.
Sure.
One of the friends I wrote, girl tells other friend Taylor called 911.
I don't remember.
There's some point in the movie where they're like talking and one of them calls in the police or whatever.
Sure.
So
it does pass the Bechdel test. There you go.
There's a bunch of random scenes.
Anything else before we finish the pod?
No.
Thank you for tuning into Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review, or like our podcast on YouTube. If you like today's episode and watched all the way to the end, comment down below the graduation emoji.
We put on an episode every Monday.
If you want to see extra podcast content, follow our TikTok at Papi Approved Movies.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion.
And remember, it has to be PG-13.
I'll be back in 2 weeks to watch The Da Vinci Code.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Bye.